Oh, weirdos! So today I'm going to be doing a vlog for my BookTube prize experience because I am a judge. I'm wearing a Snuggie because it is so freaking cold. There is no insulation on the floor under here underneath me, so I'm just literally freezing and it's fine. Today the long list for the BookTube prize was announced, which is very exciting. I'm very excited. I'm a judge for the nonfiction category. Looks like there's gonna be a lot of really good books. So the list, the long list that all the judges, all of us had to vote on, was about a little over 100 books long. From that, we had to pick 20 books. I signed up to judge all 4 rounds, but I don't know if that will happen. We'll see. Out of those 20 books that I picked, 17 of them made it onto the long list, which was amazing. I was very excited. I don't really want to talk, again, I don't want to talk about how I picked the books I picked, but I'm very happy. I am a little bit disappointed that books like Gods of the Upper Air and Coders didn't make it on. I was naively, idealistically wanting them to get on so bad because those books are about anthropology and coding, which are literally both of my majors. I was just so stoked to see them, but I will be reading them. I am really excited about the rest of the list. For this first round of judging, I will be judging Group F, which I'm really excited. I think that the judging is going to be hard because there's a lot of really good books that I got. I haven't read any of them, so that's good. We'll be reading 6 books this round, and the books are The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells, Say Nothing by Patrick Radden Keefe, Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Hagenbottom, The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee by David Traer, and How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones. And I'm so excited. Those books all look really great. I don't know how I'm going to rank them. I spent hours, and I mean hours. If you know me in real life and you knew me at that time, like in early January, and you were around me, aka my family, you know how long I agonized over picking 20 books. It was really difficult. I will say that as I was shortening down the list, a lot of the books in Group F were still on the list. I woke up this morning and I saw the list that I was going to be judging, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I got some of the books I got. I can't wait to start vlogging. Whoa. Hey weirdos, I just wanted to update you guys. Today is February 4th, and I've officially started reading How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones, and I'm really liking it. I have it on audiobook, and I've literally just started it, and I really like the opening music. That was really fun and really funky, and not something that I heard in opening music in other audiobooks. So that's just a little update on my vlog of what's going on right now for the BookTube prize. Bye. Hello. I'm coming to you from being all snuggly in my bed because I'm tired and it is 1 a.m. Love it. I finished How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones today. Today is the 5th of February. So it didn't take me that long. I read it on audiobook. The audiobook was about 5 hours long, and that's not double speed at all. So it really didn't take me long. I finished actually the bulk of it today while I was just flipping through Goodreads. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was really good. It is the first book I've read for the BookTube prize. I liked it, don't get me wrong. It was beautiful. The prose was wonderful. It was very obvious that Saeed Jones is a poet. And I do think it's an important book. I do think it's a really important book. I just don't know where I'm going to place it. Obviously right now it's at number 1 because I have nothing else to compare it to because I haven't read any of the other books yet. But I have a sneaking suspicion that it might not make it to the top 3, which is sad because I don't know, I want all books to win because I love all the books, but I'm just thinking about the other books that I have to read and how much more I am excited to read them. And I didn't really have that level of excitement, or I didn't really finish reading How We Fight for Our Lives and say, yes, this was mind-blowing, this was wonderful. It's an important book, you know, talks a lot about his own personal experiences. Obviously, it's a memoir. Growing up in Texas and being gay and being African American and how that intersects, and that intersection is very important. And also, I just want to say shout out to his mom because she was awesome and she didn't judge him for being gay, which, yay, we stand moms like that. Grandma, on the other hand, not cool, Grandma, not cool. Understand that comes from a place of love, but girl, that's just how I personally felt. I didn't really connect to it a bunch. And also, if any of you guys don't really like smut or don't really like very vivid depictions of sex and sexual encounters, that is a large part of this book. Not like a giant part, but there are, like, a bunch of the middle talks a lot about that and how he coming to terms with his sexuality, and a lot of that was through sex. I think it was good. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautifully written. But I don't know. We'll see. Those are just my first thoughts from reading the first book that I have to read. I don't know when I'm going to get started on the next one. I have to see what is on the list. I'm thinking it's Everything in Its Place. Thinking that's it. And then maybe Uninhabitable Earth after that. I don't know. Hey everyone, so I'm updating you guys. Today is February 15th and I'm finally getting to the second BookTube prize book that I've been meaning to read, and that is The Uninhabitable Earth by Wallace Wells. I've only read a very little bit of it, but so far I'm liking it. I'm very curious to see where it goes. I'm listening to this on audiobook, obviously. Okay, I'll check back in later. Hello weirdos. So this is an update. Today is February 19th and I wanted to update you guys. I finished The Uninhabitable Earth. Yay. I finished that 2 days ago, but I didn't vlog because I was so tired. I've been so tired recently. I've just been getting back from school and like passing out at my apartment and then waking up at like 10 or midnight, and yes, it's wreaked havoc for my sleep schedule. But I wanted to let you guys know that I finished The Uninhabitable Earth. I really liked it. I really liked that it was a little short review. I liked that it was scary, first of all. I think that's the point. The point is to scare you into doing change. But I think there is a really good point for us to be optimistic at the beginning of the book. After like his introduction, he's just like, hey, even though this stuff sounds terrible, I still am hoping that we can make a change, and I think that's possible. And in the book there was a comment I really liked about America pulling out of the Paris climate change debates and how that might motivate China to step up its climate change efforts. And I'm just like, yes, please do that, China. Like, do it to spite us Americans. Yeah, I'm kind of tired right now. I'm really exhausted and I want to go to sleep. I finished dinner. I think I'm going to work a little bit on editing some videos and then go to sleep because I have class tomorrow. It starts early. My classes start early tomorrow. Ordering the books that I've read. So I've only read The Uninhabitable Earth and How We Fight for Our Lives. Right now it's ranked for me Uninhabitable Earth at number 1, and then How We Fight for Our Lives at number 2. Goodbye. Excited it came! Midnight in Chernobyl came! I ordered this like over 10 days ago. It's February 24th, by the way. I got this like half price off of Amazon because I got it used, and it's fulfilled by a library in Seattle. So excited it came today. I was so happy. Today was kind of a stressful day for me. So I was really happy when this came. It was a little treat for me, personally. I haven't made any other progress on reading any of the BookTube prize books, but I'm hoping to start one tomorrow. Hey weirdos, so I've realized that I've been neglecting you these past couple weeks, and that's for many reasons. Mainly because of the coronavirus that has been crazy and upturned a lot of things, so I wasn't able to update you at all last week. But essentially, that doesn't mean that I haven't been reading. I have been reading. I finished 3 books that I have to read, and I'm gonna kind of talk about them now. So I finished Midnight in Chernobyl. I really enjoyed that. I finished Everything in Its Place, and I also finished Say Nothing. I don't want to talk about each of my opinions of all of them individually. That'll come a little bit later in this vlog. Actually, last night, I started The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee, and I'm actually really enjoying this so far. So I'm sorry I couldn't get the initial thoughts or my initial reactions of like how I was feeling about each of those 3 individual books. that is negligence on my part. I did get an email from Robert, and I will be judging in round 2. So hopefully in round 2, I will be a little bit more attentive to you guys. And I know in the last video, I said that I was going to start a new book the next day. I did not do that. I think it took me a couple of days. Now I'm going to talk about the last 3 books I read and my opinions. First one that you missed was Midnight in Chernobyl, The Untold Story of the World's Greatest Nuclear Disaster by Adam Higginbottom. This one I was super looking forward to. I was really excited to get it. It wasn't exactly a disappointment. It was really factually accurate. There was so much information given to you. Also, I like the beginning drawings of like the plant and like Pripyat, and all of that stuff really helped contextualize. Oh, it's so difficult because I did like this book. I really did. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I read this on audiobook and following along. The feelings that I was going through while reading this was I kept connecting what was going on right now to Chernobyl. At the time when I read this, it hadn't exactly blown up in America the way it has now. There were some cases in America, but there still weren't like a ton, and it wasn't really in everyone's consciousness the way it is now. I kept thinking about how China was mismanaging coronavirus and how Russia was mismanaging it. I think there is lots of parallels there, so this will be a very interesting book to read now because of that. And this is a disaster story where we know the ending, where we don't really know the ending to the disaster story now. So for that reason, I really liked it. Yeah, the writing was really good. At times it could be a bit confusing. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to reading all of these Russian names and hearing all of these Russian names. So sometimes it was hard to keep them straight. There is a handy dandy little cast of characters. There's a cast of characters, so that did help. Really enjoyable. So right now, the way I'm not really sure where I want this ranked in the 2 that I've read before I read this. Those 2 would be How We Fought for Our Lives and The Uninhabitable Earth. I had Uninhabitable Earth as number 1 and How We Fight for Our Lives as number 2. And I keep going back and forth between placing this between either as 1 or as 2, and then How We Fight for Our Lives is 3. I keep going back and forth. I'm not really sure. Next book I read I don't actually have a copy of, and that would be Everything in Its Place by Oliver Sacks. I'm sorry, but I didn't really enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed the other 3 that I had read so far. I think a large part of that was I just felt like there was no cohesion between the stories that were told. I think the stories that were told were really interesting by themselves, but kind of having them all as a memoir didn't really make sense to me, and that kind of was really pulling me out of the story a lot. And I looked up reviews on Goodreads because I was like, am I crazy? Am I the only one that's experiencing this? And I wasn't. I didn't actually have a copy of this one. I read this one on audiobook, and it was good. There were like particular stories I liked. There's this one story that I took particular issue with, and that was the one where he talks about growing older and where he has realized that he needs larger print books and dealing with the fact that there's not a lot of print books. There is not a lot of larger print books. And I do think that is an issue. But in that chapter, he does bash audiobooks, which I didn't really like, and that really made me pissed off. I get it if you don't personally like using audiobooks, but just to sort of bash them and say that they're not real reading. I don't remember the exact quote, but that really bugged me as someone who uses audiobooks a lot of times so that books can be more accessible to me. That really irked me because of all of the issues that I was having like with the cohesion, and I don't really think that it mixed well together as one story. And it was billed as one story. If it was billed as like a series of like essays or short stories, like I think I would be more okay with it, but it was just so jarring to go from his enjoyment of swimming to then go to stories like about Kuru and all of this stuff, which is all interesting independently, but there just didn't seem to be a through line besides like what he experienced. And for me, I need a little bit more than just that in a book that is billed specifically as a memoir and not a short story or essay collection. For that reason, I'm putting that in last place right now. So currently the rankings are Unattainable Earth and Midnight in Chernobyl vying for the top 2 spots. And then 3 is How We Fight for Our Lives, and 4 is Everything in Its Place. The fifth book I read is Say Nothing. I have no background with what was going on in Ireland at the time. There was at one point when I was reading it where I realized that this wasn't just a 5-year campaign. This was a multi-decade thing, and it just sort of hit me that this fight was going on for that long, and that it just kind of struck me this insanity was happening for so long. And that really got to me. I just don't even know like what to connect it to because it was so weird and my mouth was just kind of dropped the whole time. I think I'm gonna put this at the number 1 spot just because I had just such a visceral reaction. One thing I do like is that all the people that you follow in this are all set up at the beginning and you follow them through the whole chapter. It doesn't just go from like, oh, here's one story about this one person who did this, and then here's a story about these kids. You follow them through the whole book, which was really nice and I think really helped me understand things that were going on, but also help illustrate that this was an ongoing problem, which I think would have been lost if it had just been like, okay, we're going to talk about these kids that lost their mom, then we're going to talk about the sisters and their whole starving thing and everything like that. I really liked this. It was a lot more shocking than I thought it would be. Going into this, I didn't really have any expectations, but I really enjoyed it. After Say Nothing has been added to the list, I'm going to say Nothing is at number 1, and then for 2 and 3, we have Midnight in Chernobyl and The Uninhabitable Earth. 4th, I have How We Fought for Our Lives, and then last is Everything in Its Place. That means I just have The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee to read. I'm currently reading that, and I'm really enjoying that, so Hey weirdos! Today is March 22nd, and I am currently working on reading The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee, and I'm really enjoying it. I have about 7 hours left in the audiobook, so that means that it's going to take me about 3.5 hours to read. I'm coming to you on an important mission. I am walking to the grocery store to get food. This is the first full day of the shelter-in-place order that was given for Illinois. Only essential functions are open right now, so like the grocery store, and post office, and banks. And that noise you're hearing is this cart. Well, we do have a car at my home. I can't drive, and I was the one who was elected today to go get food because I wanted to take a walk. And it's about 1.5 miles to the grocery store from my house, which isn't a problem. That's a very nice walk. I love walking, so it's really nice. This is a weird feeling. I've chosen to read an audiobook during this time so that I don't really have to touch my phone. If there are empty shelves at the grocery store, I'll show you guys. Part of the reason why I wanted to go today is because I'm morbidly curious about what's going on in my hometown. I haven't been outside since Tuesday, and that was election day for the primary, and my family made a decision together that we were going to go outside and vote. We were very careful. We brought our own Sharpies, brought hand sanitizer. I am enjoying The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee. I'm excited that I'm going to get to listen to this on my excursion today. So I haven't been finding a lot of stuff off the shelves, but here's the soup aisle. It's just, what's the soup's gone? And mac and cheese over there. Jeez. And here is where the toilet paper is supposed to be. It's all gone. Wow, people are crazy. The grocery store I go to started putting lines on the ground to help with the social distancing. I think that's great. Okay, I'm trying standing because I got some new equipment. I'm so excited because I just finished The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee, and I really loved it. Okay, it's just as good as I thought it would be. Today is March 23rd. I'm so glad I read this. It was so good. I don't really know like what else to tell you guys. The author is Native himself, so it is an own voices narrative, which is awesome. And one thing I love that he does is dispel the myth that all Native Americans are the same. And that's one thing he acknowledges, is that I'm going to be speaking from a lot of my experience, which can be very different from another native's experience. So I love that he acknowledged that. And then at the beginning, he does this awesome thing where he takes the time to run down a very, very brief, but still good rundown of what it was like to live in certain tribes. I kind of will describe it as very mini quick ethnographies that were happening over and over and over in the beginning of this book, which I think is necessary so that you can understand the differences between a lot of the tribes. All Native Americans from South or North or Central America, they are all very, very different. And that's something that is not always taught a lot in classes. The whole discussion with what happened at Wounded Knee was really good, and that is something that I care about. So I was really glad that that discussion was really good. And I love that not only that the author took the historic stories and talked about the treaties, but also wove in personal narratives of Indians that are making it in a field that you wouldn't necessarily think, and how they are tapping into their native ancestry and their native heritage to create something better and bigger. And there's also a conversation that I really, really liked in this book, which is who is native. A lot of the times in the past, how it was tackled was what percentage are you? And that would define things like whether you're eligible for certain aid or certain funding and all those other things. He discussed as kind of problematic, which I would agree with. It's way more complicated than just what percentage you are. It's about your culture. Culture is not something that you pass down through your genes. It's something you pass down through culture. That's why enculturation is a word. And he talked about how now the focus is still shifting towards how connected you are to your heritage. So can you speak your language? How much of your culture do you know? How are you preserving it? Which I think is a really great shift that we are seeing in how natives are treated and how natives are self-identifying. I could ramble so long about this book, but I don't want this video to be insanely long. So I'm gonna stop it here. I will say it is really good. I read this with audiobook and following along. Read it. I am in my pajamas because I want to go to sleep. So I'm probably gonna crawl into my bed like now. Are you guys ready? I am so ready. I'm so excited to announce the list. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing for this last little bit of the video is listing out my official ranking. Yay! I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm going to be going from 6th, which is the lowest position, to 1, which is the highest position. And before I do this, I just want to say I enjoyed all of these books. I don't think all of these books were bad in any way. In 6th position, we have Everything in Its Place. In 5th place, we have How We Fight for Our Lives. 4th place, we have Midnight in Chernobyl. I finally figured out where to put this one. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this. It just did not grab me as much as the other books did. 3rd, we have The Uninhabitable Earth. These books were so good, guys. 2nd book is Say Nothing. Check all of these books out. They're so good. Last but not least, my favorite book from the round 1 is, if you couldn't have guessed by deduction, is The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee. When I got the list, I had a sneaking suspicion that this one was gonna win. And it did, because it was just that good. That's it. That's my ranking, guys. So I cannot wait to see how it shakes out and which books make it to the next round. I will be judging round 2. I think I said that earlier, but I just want to reiterate that. Well, that is it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Have you read any of these books? What are your opinions? Let me know all of them in the comment down below. Did you rank them? Did you read these? What was your ranking? Let me know. This is just so fun, and I'm so glad that I got to participate in this. Okay, bye. I have to film my January wrap-up, and that's gonna be a long video, and I don't want to do that yet. This book had me going like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck?